So, as authentic soulpreneurs, many of you who are watching this, we provide services and programs that aren't basic necessities, you might say, but more perhaps higher level on the Maslow's hierarchy, where we're supporting individuals and perhaps couples in self-actualizing, rising above their typical habits and behaviors, and of course, it's important work. But we are addressing people who have that disposable income to spend on not just basic necessities. So something I've always been curious about, and finally went ahead and did some research on this with the support of Google Gemini AI Deep Research, which is a tool for generating reports. I was wondering, well, how do we reach the more people with more higher disposable income, what are sometimes called affluent consumers? How do we reach them on social media? So I want to show you a report that I generated. I will put the link below this video or above this video, wherever I wrote notes, and I'll show you around the report, and maybe this will be useful to you as you consider what platforms, social media platform or platforms to select in 2025 to promote your content and your offers. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Here we go. Okay. All right. So let's begin with affluent consumers. The term is I'm going to use throughout the video and throughout the report. We're going to just say AC or ACs, affluent consumers. Uh, and these are people who generally their household income is above, I mean, almost entirely above 100,000 US dollars, and therefore have tendency to spend, more likely to spend on personal growth type of services and programs. So the first one I analyzed was Substack because I just taught a course about Substack. So I was really curious about that. And Substack is the smallest of the platforms that I'm going to be sharing with you. And yet, at this time, I think Substack actually, how many Substack users are there? Substack users are there? Let me just get a real time. So 35 million Substack users and more than 3 million paid subscriptions. So already my report's a little bit outdated because it says a million paid subscriptions, but there's actually 3 million and it's 35 million users. So let's talk about this. 3 million paid subscriptions with 35 million users. Now, of course, some users have more than one paid subscriptions. Okay. So even let's say on average, someone may have two paid subscriptions. So let's say 1.5 million users with paid subscriptions, 1.5 million divided by 35 million. So over 4%, let's say over 4% of users are paying for subscriptions on Substack, which means that it is a higher than average number on any social media platform for people who are spending money just to get good content. So if they have disposable income to spend money on good content, well, they probably are more likely to have money to spend on services and programs and retreats and workshops and things like that. So I think even though it's the smallest of the platforms, it's particularly content driven, meaning people go there because they want to dive deeper into an idea instead of just scrolling for memes on social media. So I think it's a strong platform for reaching more thoughtful people who are driven more by personal professional development, and probably have more money than the average social media user across the board has to spend. Okay. And the other thing the report says is it's good for direct engagement, which tends to draw people who are affluent consumers. They want more direct contact with creators, or they expect that anyway. And I just want to show you real quick in Substack, as a creator, you can create community chats easily with your subscribers, like you can see here. Um, I don't even have that many subscribers. I have about 300 subscribers, free subscribers. And already I'm getting, almost 10% of them replying to my direct community chat. So it's a high level and active level of engagement compared to other social media platforms. So that's Substack. I just created a course on that. Threads is also another one I've been quite interested in because It's quite fun to use. There's some really great features on there, such as creating custom feeds where you can follow specific industries, specific keywords, and just see the feed on that. That makes it easy on Threads to do. Threads is much bigger than Substack. It has 54 million users just in the age range, right? 54 million just in the 35-64 age range who are, and 13 million over 65. So the reason why I selected this age range, 35 plus, is because they're more likely to have disposable income. They're farther along in their career, more established, and therefore more, and probably more established in terms of their own schedule as well and the stability of life. So more likely to now look forward to self-actualization and those kinds of things, right? So a high number of those people are on Threads. 5 million Threads users have opted for premium Threads accounts, meaning they're paying Threads for the premium service, and that means more account security, etc. It's not that many features, to be honest, but they have account security and things like that. So it's tendency to be higher level income folks rather than people who are just subsisting on basic necessities. So it's also a worthwhile platform to consider reaching affluent consumers. Instagram is the parent company really of Threads, and Instagram is much bigger. It's just 30 to 64 has over a billion users. Okay, a billion users. Over a billion is 30 plus. Okay. And in the US alone, almost half of Instagram users have household income of more than 75K, which is studies show that 75,000 and up tends to be the threshold for basic happiness. So in other words, subsistence, more than subsistence income, right? 75K plus. And they also have studies showing that Instagram users have high engagement with buying things. And I agree. As for all the platforms, I have a larger number of Instagram followers than most of my other social media following, and I tend to get a lot of sales through Instagram. So I agree with this. It's great, I think, for reaching affluent consumers. YouTube, of course, is the probably the biggest of everything I'm talking about here, and it has half a billion users. No, three-quarters of a billion that are 35 plus. Three-quarters of a billion. So whatever topic you talk about, you're likely to be able to find hundreds of thousands at the very least who resonate with your topic. And it's highly educated. It's a highly educated audience. It tends to be, at least in the higher affluent countries like the United States, Canada, Australia, it's a highly educated audience who yeah, so of course there's a large range on YouTube because of such a large platform, but because it's such a giant audience, there are definitely millions of affluent consumers, and whatever topic you talk about, you probably should be talking about that on YouTube as well. LinkedIn turns out to be the report later, you'll see the conclusion says that LinkedIn is probably the best platform for reaching affluent consumers. Now, I didn't really want to believe it because LinkedIn is, to be honest, I think it's a harder platform to grow than all the other ones that I've shared with you thus far. And so I didn't want to believe it, but that's what the report shows. And it's making me more motivated to lean into LinkedIn more in 2025. Um, anyway, it's not surprisingly, it's the professional, because it's the professional networking platform. It tends to have executives, and look, 66% of investors with investable assets over $100,000 are active on LinkedIn. That's the report. That's the according to the references, which I will show you. There are dozens of references that this report pulled from. And by the way, of course, as you already saw, I showed you earlier, the report isn't necessarily the most up to date. So if you want to confirm any of these numbers, you can just go to Google and search it and see. I was just using one AI tool for generating the report and making some adjustments based on that, but I didn't double check the numbers like I should have. So, but at least the numbers are within 3 years old, I would say. Facebook, course, we all know about it. It's giant because of the diversity of demographic on Facebook. Whoever you're trying to reach, including affluent individuals and households, they are on Facebook as well. I think when it comes to choosing a platform, it's not just about the numbers of people, but it's about your enjoyment of using it. Like a lot of my clients and students really enjoy using Substack as an example, which is why they really wanted to grow on Substack. They took my course on Substack, one of my more popular courses now. So it's you have to enjoy using it in order to be consistent in using it, I think. So, but these platforms are all have great potential. Same thing with Twitter or X as it's called now. Of course, it started out with a lot of journalists and tech entrepreneurs, tech executives that started on Twitter, and so that kind of was the beginning was these highly influential people were using Twitter, and I think it grew from there. It's still most journalists are still on Twitter, and a lot of tech and finance executives and leaders I find are on. I used X is actually my favorite platform to surf as a consumer myself, so I see that a lot, and I do think it's a well worthwhile platform for reaching affluent individuals. So the conclusion, like I mentioned earlier, based on the analysis of the report, is that LinkedIn is probably the most highly concentrated platform for affluent individuals and households. But the other ones, like I said, if you really enjoy any of these, they're probably worth trying out. And it's interesting, it didn't mention Threads, but Instagram and Threads are highly tied together. So if you are more visual, you create more visual content, Instagram or video content, visuals and video, Instagram is better. If you just want to do writing, Threads is much easier to use as an alternative, less visual alternative to Instagram, but it's still the same, similar audience. It's not as big as Instagram, but it's a similar type of audience. And with that, again, if you go to the blog post that I'm going to give you the link to in the description of the video, you will also see this summary table. And so that's available for you. And of course, the references, Google Gemini Deep Research is amazing because it pulled from, it actually, the research itself pulled from more than 100 websites, but they ended up using these 30 references to generate some of the numbers. So I hope this is helpful. I hope this is interesting, and thank you for watching. I know there are other platforms I didn't mention as a report, such as Medium.com and TikTok and Reddit and whichever Blue Sky and others that you might enjoy using. So if you're curious, you can try looking up the numbers yourself and add a comment below this video if you find anything that might be interesting for us. So thank you for watching, and let me know if this is interesting and if this helps you make any decisions for your social media content marketing in 2025. Thank you.